I'm a 30-year-old company owner descended from a long history of successful businessmen. I always enjoyed a life of luxuries as a child because of my family's income. It did not, however, deter me from being kind and giving to others in need. Adrian, the joy of my life, and I have been married for over 10 years. I built a house for the two of us, where we currently reside. To buy a house with my spouse has always been my desire. Adrian is a cashier at a retail store. Due to his inability to complete education, he was forced to work at low-paying occupations. I normally foot the money and take care of everything else as a result. Our relationship began strangely, but it is now incredibly affectionate. Memories of the first moments of our love affair. We had just finished our final year of college. I've always had a thing for Adrian, who played football for the squad. To let him know I liked him, I would put food and presents in his locker, but every time I did, I felt devastated. I saw him do this twice. Either he gave the food away or he put the presents in the trash. But one day, as I was at the library finishing on my thesis, my closest friend from college, Talia, a law student, came up to me. "Hey, Alina, did you know what happened?" Talia's voice could be heard over the other side of the wing, so the library uncrushed us. What happened? Her eyes betrayed worry and anxiousness. I just saw Adrian dropping his subjects at the registrar. My pupils expanded. Not at all. Adrian is among our class's best pupils. When there is just 1 month left before graduation, there is no way that he would abandon all of his studies. Are you certain? I am, indeed. Recall that I am a student assistant in the office of the registrar. What I found startled me so much. I had a crush on Adrian since my freshman year and had intended to tell him how I felt after I graduated. Now how might I accomplish that? Talia, thanks for the information. I'm sad for him. I spotted him waiting at the fence later that day. I had only had a few encounters with him, all of them unsuccessful. Nevertheless, I chose to take a chance and went up to him. I caught his attention by clearing my throat and then spoke. Hey. I could see the dread in his eyes when we met. Oh, hi, he answered. We had never looked at each other before, so my heart was racing. I've heard that you're leaving school. Is that accurate? He let out a sigh. I suppose word spreads quickly. Indeed, I am. You are the valedictorian of our cohort. The news that you won't graduate has surprised everyone. It's depressing for everyone, even myself. I made sure my final words were quiet enough for him to miss them. I too find it saddening. Though it's not something I requested, I must choose. Due to my father's illness, which is in serious condition, I must stop my studies in order to provide the funds necessary for his treatment. Oh, that breaks my heart to hear. He opened up to me, which made me pleased even though I felt terrible for him. Thus I consoled him. I'm here if you need someone to rely on. All the time. I made the most consoling comment that came to mind. He grinned. He had never smiled at me before, until now. Thank you, Alina. His phone rang right then. There was concern in his tone when he responded. A few moments later, he was crying. How are you doing? Is there anything that I can assist with? With tears in his eyes, he turned to face me after hanging up. We don't have enough money, but my father has to be moved to the intensive care unit. We'll lose him if we can't move him in 2 days. While I listened to him, my heart hurt. I wanted to lighten his load somehow. How much is required? I believe I can provide you a loan of money. He was taken aback by my offer. Alina, it's a considerable amount. I know, that's why I'm offering to help you. He took a while to tell me the amount, then hesitated again. Yes, it was a big amount, but I wanted to support. Okay, I'll pay the bills. His shocked eyes became wider. Alina, are you certain? Many thanks for it. I was thrilled when he gave me an embrace. Days went by, and I kept going to see his dad in the hospital. Adrian began giving me more consideration and care. The majority of my spare time was spent with him in the hospital, either going shopping with him or sitting next to him in the waiting area. After being moved to the ICU, His father eventually made a full recovery 1 month later. I was overjoyed to have contributed to his assistance. Adrian's mother remarked, "Thank you so much for your help, Elena. It was nice to speak with her informally." "No issue, ma'am. As Adrian is one of my friends, I wanted to support him. That is the issue. Mike and I want more than just to be buddies." A beat skipped in my heart. What was the meaning conveyed by her? "I want you to marry my son." That was the last time I gave her comments any credence until Adrian asked me to marry him. It was difficult for me to accept that the man of my dreams was requesting my hand in marriage because we hadn't dated. Without any delay, I answered sure. After 10 years, we now have 2 happy children and a wonderful partnership. My in-laws cohabit with us as well. After attending a business conference, I was taken aback to discover unusual items in the home one day. I inquired of the maids. "Margot purchased it today, ma'am. She said you gave her the order to do so." I couldn't figure it out. "I never told her to do that. Ma'am, she stated that you did it. Each and every week, she does this. That you were unaware of it." "What is it? Is this a fact? Is she hoarding stuff with the money that I have given her?" My mind was blown by the news. The first thing I did was dash into the master bedroom, where I saw my spouse engrossed in a book. This is his typical habit. He either reads or complains about his little salary. This has been his constant routine. Tonight, I hoped to do nothing more than read. "Did your mom buy all the stuff outside?" Mr. Adrian simply nodded. I then let out a sigh. This was always the case with him. Not even a conversation could be had with him. As the evening progressed, I became increasingly fascinated by everything that my mother-in-law had purchased, which included 12 large porcelain vases, 3 air coolers, 4 boxes of food, shoes, purses, and other items that I could not even begin to recall. Is she going to give away all of those goods? After taking a look at them, I determined that the cost may be as high as $100. Because of this, I went with my gut and checked the balance in my bank account. I couldn't believe my eyes when I noticed that my equilibrium was so close to hitting its lowest possible point. Nearly 90% of my money had been gone. You were supposed to use the money to pay bills. I started to feel anxious. It was hard for me to comprehend that she had been carrying out this activity behind my back for a decade without my knowledge. This cannot be true. The moment I realized that they had been using my money to pay off all of their family obligations, my hands began to shake violently. I went through all of the transactions and evaluated them all. I was so overwhelmed by everything that I had just learned that I wanted to quit. In their treatment of me, I was treated like a money machine. After that, I addressed both my husband and my mother-in-law the following day. They were conversing with one another at the coffee table, so I went in their direction where they were sitting. I abruptly banged the table and then displayed my ATM card to them. With a look of bewilderment on her face, my mother-in-law raised her eyebrows and peered at me. She questioned, "What exactly is wrong with you?" Is it not appropriate for me to be the one to pose the question? Just what is the matter with you? In an effort to bring me back to my senses, Adrian stood up. You need to calm down. Kindly refrain from speaking to my mother in such a manner. I dismissed him with a shrug. Is it true that you have been utilizing my bank account for the entire time? Kindly respond to me here. Adrian argued. Don't accuse her, and he was right. I did not pay him any attention. His defense of his mother didn't matter to me since what she did was terrible. She went too far. Answer me. She yelled at me as she got up. Indeed, how about that? The way she answered surprised me. You had the option to request authorization. When it comes to money, I'm not greedy. I offer all to you. How on earth did you find out my PIN number in the first place? Your husband gave it to me. My mouth fell open. Adrian, has he told her? I pivoted to face him and met his gaze. Why? He answered, because my mother deserves everything. This was occurring, and I couldn't believe it. My name is Julie. I would benefit if you informed me. I would have awarded her what she is worthy of. Isn't that what I'm doing all this time? I work tirelessly day and night to provide for this family while you work unproductively." My mother-in-law took hold of me and gave me a cheek smack. "You have no right to talk to my son that way. I should have your gratitude. It was me that proposed to you for marriage. You'd still be a hopeless romantic if I hadn't persuaded Adrian to get married. And using you to pay our debts is the least you can do as payment for my efforts." She went on. "Never be unappreciative." She gave me another smack. I couldn't express how her smacks affected me. I spent the entire thing crying, and I was a fool to have believed them. It was revealed a few weeks later. Adrian and my mother-in-law started abusing me on a regular basis. They showed no gratitude for my financial gifts and treated me like they had nothing. I was made to give over my card by force. "Give me your card, or I'll tell everyone that you forced my son to marry you through blackmail. I'm able to ruin you, Alina. Give me your card and stop being so self-centered." I gave her my card out of dread of being mistreated once more. Watching her waste my money on ridiculous items to show off to her friends, proving she was affluent even though she had the worst attitude, broke my heart. The violence and brutality they were exhibiting toward me overwhelmed me. I made the decision to leave the house with my 2 kids at that point. We left covertly at midnight. Being aware of their financial reliance on me, I was certain they would not permit us to depart. Remember how I was their ATM? As a result, when we moved out, I also absolved myself of the need to pay the bills and rent. We made our way to my parents' estate and made ourselves at home. They became frightened when they realized we were gone. Adrian begged us to come home again and over via phone calls and texts, but I never answered. After several months, my mother-in-law made an effort to get in touch with me. Since we had gone, they had not been paying the bills, and I knew that my bank account was becoming low. They didn't know how else to make money. She insulted me and used foul language in a letter that she wrote me. "You avaricious woman. Do you believe that your riches has given you security? My life will be ruined. I'll pursue you. The landlord will take possession of the house if you don't return and pay the debts within 3 days. You will regret defying me if you don't heed my directions." Rather than feeling afraid, her message made me giggle. I could feel her frustration and anger. I phoned the landowner right away, Talia, who also happens to be my personal attorney and best friend. I knew I didn't need to worry about the house because of this. I advised her, "Let's file a lawsuit against them." "Yes, Alina, I'll get back to you right away." The court orders were received by my mother-in-law and husband a few days later. Their only option was to go. I noticed my mother-in-law wearing my opulent attire on the day of the trial. She was obviously furiously angry. I revealed their actual motives throughout the trial by providing proof of the financial manipulation and maltreatment I had experienced. In front of everyone, I told with assurance, "Your Honor, I have evidence that my mother-in-law and husband used me for financial gain and mistreated me in the process." I produced receipts, bank statements, and other records attesting to illegal payments and withdrawals. My mother-in-law became anxious, seeing her loss. She said, "These documents are edited." Everyone, even the judge, chuckled. "Mrs. Anderson, these are official documents that have been sealed to ensure their legitimacy. She is not capable of fabricating these reports." "You are found guilty," the magistrate said, striking his gavel. The overwhelming weight of the evidence caused the court to find in my favor. As the decision was announced, Adrian and my mother-in-law lowered their heads in shame. Talia came over to talk to me after the trial. "I'm incredibly moved by your courage. Justice is not enough for you. As a show of solidarity, I've chosen to give you the house for this reason." I graciously accepted her kind offer while crying. But now when they were in a dire predicament, Adrian and Margot approached me and begged for assistance. "Alina, we really apologize. We were blinded by our selfishness and took you for granted. There is nowhere for us to go and no one else for us to turn." I gave them a determined yet sympathetic gaze. "I've put up with your abuse and manipulation for years. It's time to put my health first now. It will be up to you to navigate your own path out of the disaster you've made. I was free to move forth from their poisonous influence now that I had regained my power and freedom. After revealing their genuine motivations and guaranteeing a brighter future for myself and my kids, I stood up and asserted my dominance. I discovered how to value who I am and find contentment in my newly acquired independence.
Hi, I'm Amanda. Back in 2017, I married the love of my life, John, a wonderful man from a family with a long history of sons. Our wedding was like a scene from a fairy tale, with everyone celebrating our union under the soft glow of sunset. It felt perfect, and for a while, everything was. In the first few years, John and I lived in bliss, our happiness only growing when I discovered I was pregnant. We're going to have a baby, John, I remember telling him, and the sparkle in his eyes as he lifted me into a joyful embrace is something I'll never forget. I hope it's a girl, he whispered, someone as beautiful and kind as her mother. The joy of our growing family was slightly overshadowed by John's mother, Linda. At first, her constant presence and advice seemed like enthusiasm, albeit overwhelming. But things changed when we revealed our baby's gender, a girl. A girl, huh? Linda mused during one family dinner. Are you sure, Amanda? John comes from a long line of boys. It's unusual, isn't it? I tried to laugh it off, replying, I guess we're just breaking tradition this time. As my pregnancy progressed, so did Linda's intrusions. She began showing up unannounced, filling our home with unwelcome comments and old wives' tales about ensuring the next baby would be a boy. It's important to keep a family lineage, Amanda. Maybe you should consult a specialist for the next one, she'd say, her words tinged with irritation. Despite this, I kept my cool. We're just happy to have a healthy baby, Linda, I'd reply. But when we revealed that our second child was also going to be a girl, Linda's demeanor changed from subtly intrusive to openly hostile. Another girl? This can't be right. Are you sure John is the father? Her sharp tone and scrutinizing gaze made my heart pound with anger and disbelief. Linda, that's a horrible thing to say, I exclaimed, but before I could say more, John stepped in, his voice firm. Mom, you're out of line. Amanda is my wife, and I trust her completely. But John, Linda persisted, her tone accusatory. You know the importance of having a boy. Are you sure she's being faithful? Seeing the hurt in John's eyes, I realized this wasn't just about tradition. It was about trust, respect, and family. A family that Linda seemed determined to tear apart with her baseless accusations. The breaking point came during a routine visit when I was 8 months pregnant with our second daughter. Linda's attitude had been frosty since our announcement, but I never imagined it would escalate to physical violence. Why do you insist on shaming our family, Amanda? Why can't you give John a son? Her voice was cold, her eyes filled with something dark and angry. Linda, I'm not giving anyone anything. These are our children, and they are perfect, I said, my voice steady despite the fear rising within me. Suddenly, Linda lashed out, slapping me across the face. The shock of the impact left me reeling, and before I could process what had happened, she kicked me, sending a sharp pain through my belly. John, I cried out, and in an instant, he was by my side, shielding me from his mother. Get out, Mom. Now, John's voice thundered through the room as Linda stormed out. The room spun around me as the reality of her actions sank in. She was willing to harm me, to harm her own grandchild. But in that moment, John's unwavering support was my anchor. We knew things had to change. We had to protect our family, no matter what. And that was just the beginning. After John ushered his mother out, the door slammed shut with a finality that echoed through our once peaceful home. We were alone, the silence heavy between us. Are you okay? Did she hurt you or the baby? John asked, his voice trembling with concern. I touched my belly, still in shock, and nursed my cheek with my other hand. I think we're okay. We can't let this go, Amanda. I never thought she'd go this far, he said, guilt etched into his features. I reached for his hand, squeezing it tightly. It's not your fault, John. We couldn't have known she'd do something like this. John began pacing, running his hands through his hair. I'm calling the police. She can't just attack you and think it's okay because she's family. The decision felt heavy, like crossing an invisible line that would forever change the dynamics of our family. But as John dialed the number, his resolve was clear. Protecting our family was his top priority. "Hello, yes. I need to report an assault. It's my mother. She attacked my pregnant wife," he said to the dispatcher. As he spoke, my thoughts raced. How had it come to this? Family gatherings that once felt like celebrations now loomed like threats. After hanging up, John sat beside me, his face pale. "They're sending someone to take your statement. We're going to make sure she answers for this." The doorbell rang sooner than expected. 2 officers stood at our doorstep, their expressions a mix of professionalism and concern. "Mrs. Amanda, can you tell us what happened?" one of the officers asked, taking notes as I recounted the incident, his brow furrowed with each detail. "And you're sure you want to press charges?" he asked, the question heavy with implication. Without hesitation, I nodded. "Yes. It's not just about me, it's about our children's safety." The officers assured us they would handle everything and advised us to seek a restraining order. After they left, the reality of our situation sank in. "We need to think about moving," John suggested. "Somewhere she doesn't know, where we can start fresh." I considered his words. "Maybe you're right, but let's focus on getting through this first, for our daughters." That night, as we lay in bed, the events of the day replayed in my mind. The fear, the betrayal, but most of all, John's unwavering support. It reinforced something vital: our commitment to each other and our family. In the days that followed, we consulted with a lawyer, strengthening our case against Linda. The community's reaction was mixed. Some whispered about family disputes gone too far, while others offered quiet support. Through it all, John and I held on to each other, our bond stronger than ever. We knew we would overcome this, not just survive it. But through it all, we emerged stronger, a united front against any storm. As the court date approached, our resolve only hardened, ready to close this painful chapter and protect the peaceful future we envisioned for our family. "Are we doing the right thing, Amanda?" John's voice was fraught with worry. "Pressing charges against my own mother." "She hurt us, John, and she could have hurt our girls," I replied, the weight of the situation pressing on me. "We need to protect our family." "But the backlash, what if people don't understand? They'll think we're tearing the family apart," he said, his concern evident. I reached for his hand, squeezing it gently. "Some might, but we know the truth. We're not tearing anything apart. We're holding our family together." "As your attorney, I'll need every detail about what happened," Mr. Thompson said as he opened his notepad. "The more specific, the better for building a strong case." We recounted everything from Linda's initial subtle shifts in behavior to her violent outburst. Mr. Thompson listened intently, his pen never stopping. "This is a serious case of domestic assault," he finally said. "Given that Amanda is pregnant, the charges are even more severe." "What about the community? This is going to become public," I asked, a knot of anxiety tightening in my stomach. "People will talk, yes," Mr. Thompson replied, "but your primary concern should be your safety and legal protection." In the weeks that followed, the reality of our situation sank in. Word of the incident spread through our small town, and reactions were mixed. While some neighbors offered sympathetic smiles and understanding nods, others whispered behind closed doors, their gazes judgmental. One afternoon, while picking up groceries, I overheard a couple whispering, "Can you believe she pressed charges against her own mother-in-law over a family argument?" One person said, "It's not just an argument, she was attacked." Another voice defended me. Feeling a surge of emotions, I hurried out of the store, the bags heavy in my hands. At home, John and I discussed our next steps. "Maybe moving isn't such a bad idea," he mused. "A new start could be good for us." "But this is our home, John. Should we really have to leave because of what she did?" I asked, conflicted. "We'll make that decision together," he'd assured me, pulling me into a hug. "Whatever we decide, we'll do it as a family." As the court date drew closer, the strain was palpable. We attended counseling to deal with the stress and fear, each session slowly stitching back the fabric of our family's peace. "We're doing the right thing," I whispered to John one night as we lay quietly in bed. "For our daughters, for us, for our family." After the tumult of the court proceedings, where Linda was handed a sentence that mandated therapy and community service, the quiet in our home felt like a balm. John and I spent long evenings discussing our plans, determined to turn over a new leaf for the sake of our daughters. "Let's repaint the nursery," John suggested one evening, a spark of renewal in his eyes. Something bright and cheerful. I smiled, warmed by his initiative. Yellow maybe, bright like the sun. As we painted together, the strokes covering old memories, our girls played at our feet, their laughter a sweet sound amidst the swish of brushes. It was during these simple moments that healing seemed most tangible, the past slowly receding like a bad dream. Yet, recovery wasn't just about fixing up our home. It was also about mending the emotional scars. John and I joined a support group for families who had experienced domestic violence. Every session, we sat in a circle, sharing our stories and listening to others, finding strength in shared experiences. It's not easy. I confessed during one session, the group's attentive faces encouraging me to open up. Some days I feel like we're moving forward. Other times, it's like we're stuck. A woman across from me, her name was Marilyn, nodded understandingly. Healing isn't linear, but look at how far you've come, supporting each other through everything. Her words struck a chord. She was right. Despite everything, John and I had each other's backs, stronger together than we'd ever been. Outside the support group, our friends played a crucial role. Rachel and Mike, a couple we'd known for years, frequently checked in, offering to babysit or just bringing over dinner. Their presence was a constant reminder of the good in our lives. "Thank you for being here," I said, grateful for their support. "Hey, what are friends for?" Rachel replied, her smile reassuring. "You do the same for us." Their support was invaluable, but finding peace within myself became just as crucial. I started journaling, pouring my thoughts and fears onto paper. It was a private release, a way to sort through my emotions and come to terms with our new reality. John noticed the change. "You seem more at peace," he observed one night as we settled down after a long day. "I'm getting there," I admitted. Writing helps, talking helps, but knowing we're moving forward together helps the most. As the months passed, the sharp edges of our trauma softened. We celebrated small victories, like our eldest taking her first steps and John's successful completion of a major project at work. Life wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about thriving, about building the safe, loving environment we had always envisioned for our daughters. "Here's to new beginnings," John toasted one night, glasses clinking in the soft light of our renovated kitchen. "To us," I added, "and to a future filled with love and peace." As we embraced, surrounded by the tangible results of our resilience, I knew we were on the right path. Our journey wasn't over, but each step took us further from the shadows of the past and closer to the light of our own making. One crisp autumn evening, as we watched the girls play in the leaf-strewn yard, John wrapped an arm around my shoulders. "Can you believe how fast they're growing?" he asked. I leaned into him, watching our daughters. "It's amazing. They're so happy, John. We did that. We made this piece for them." Our journey hadn't been easy. The scars from Linda's betrayal lingered, but they no longer defined us. Instead, they served as stark reminders of our resilience and the depths of our commitment to each other and our children. "We've made a lot of tough decisions," I said. Cutting ties with Linda was one of the hardest, but I know it was the right one. John nodded, his gaze thoughtful. "It was necessary for our safety and sanity. It's just unfortunate it had to come to that with my own mother. But we're here now, and that's what matters." We watched as Sophie helped Ella up after a gentle tumble, both laughing amidst the autumn colors. That night, after we tucked the girls into bed, John and I sat on the porch, a pot of tea steaming between us. We talked about the future, about the possibilities that lay ahead, new projects, potential trips, and watching our girls grow up into the strong, joyful individuals they were becoming. "Our family, our rules, our happiness," John declared, raising his cup in a quiet toast. "To new beginnings and to a life built on love, respect, and above all, peace." As the stars twinkled above, the shadows of our past seemed nothing more than distant memories. The challenges we had faced had not only brought us closer, but had also redefined what it meant to be a family. We were no longer just survivors of hardship, but architects of our own joy. In the quiet of the night, with the soft whisper of the breeze and the promise of tomorrow in our hearts, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. We had navigated the darkest of times together, and now we stood on the threshold of a bright, hopeful future, a future we had secured through courage, love, and an unwavering belief in each other. What do you think about the decision John and I made to cut ties with Linda? Was it the only way to protect our family, or could there have been another solution? Share your thoughts in the comments below. if you enjoyed this story and want to see more. Hey there, I'm Sarah, a 32-year-old single mom doing my best to balance work, life, and raising my amazing little boy. It's a sunny Saturday, and I'm out in the backyard with my son, Ethan. He's 6 years old, bursting with energy and giggles, proudly showing off his new birthday present, a super cool toy robot that lights up and makes all sorts of awesome noises. As I sip my coffee, I can't help but think how sweet life is right now. My phone buzzes, interrupting my thoughts. Yo sis, we still on for the BBQ tomorrow? It's my brother Mike, my rock since Ethan's dad bailed when I was pregnant. I shoot back a quick hell yeah, and start mentally preparing for some quality family time. The next day rolls around and Mike arrives with his wife, Karen, and their daughter, Lily. Now, don't get me wrong, I adore my niece, but Karen, well, she's a whole different story. Sarah, darling, you look so rested, Karen chirps, giving me an air kiss on both cheeks. I resist the urge to roll my eyes. And where's my favorite nephew? Right on cue, Ethan comes charging out of the house, robot in hand. Uncle Mike, look what I got for my birthday. Mike scoots him up, genuinely excited. Whoa, buddy, that's one cool robot. I notice Lily eyeing the toy, and that's when Karen's smile turns just a little too sharp. Oh, Ethan, sweetie, why don't you let Lily play with your new toy? Sharing is caring, right? I step in, keeping my tone light. It's brand new, maybe later, yeah? Karen's eyes narrow for a split second before she laughs it off. Of course, of course. Lily, honey, why don't you see if Auntie Sarah needs help in the kitchen? As they walk off, I catch Mike's eye. He shrugs, mouthing sorry behind Karen's back. The afternoon goes on, and I start to relax. The burgers are sizzling, the adults are enjoying their beers, and the kids are happily playing in the yard. Then, I hear it. Lily's high-pitched wail. But I want the robot. Ethan won't share. I look over to see Ethan clutching his toy, Lily reaching for it. Before I can step in, Karen's already there, cooing to Lily. Now, Ethan, be a good boy and let Lily have a turn. You don't want to be selfish, do you? I feel my hackles rise. Karen, it's Ethan's new toy. He doesn't have to share if he doesn't want to. Karen turns to me, all sugary sweetness. Oh, but Sarah, we need to teach them to share, right? Mike, caught in the middle, mumbles something non-committal and suddenly becomes very interested in flipping burgers. I kneel down next to Ethan. Buddy, it's your toy. You don't have to share if you're not ready. But maybe later, if you feel like it, you could show Lily how it works. Ethan nods, holding the robot even closer. Karen's smile stays frozen in place, but I can see the anger simmering in her eyes. As the day winds down and they're getting ready to leave, Karen corners me by the door. You know, Sarah, you really should teach Ethan better manners. It's not good for him to be so possessive. I bite back a retort, forcing a smile. Thanks for the advice, Karen. Drive safe. The next few weeks were like walking on eggshells. Every time Mike and Karen came over, it was the same old routine. Karen would zero in on Ethan's robot like a heat-seeking missile. Oh, Ethan, sweetie, Lily's been asking about your robot. Why don't you let her play with it? I grit my teeth, watching Ethan shrink back. Karen, we've been over this. It's Ethan's special toy. She'd laugh, that high-pitched, fake sound. Don't be silly, Sarah. Kids need to learn to share. One day, I caught her trying to sneak the robot into Lily's bag. When I called her out, she played dumb. Oh, did I put that in there? Silly me, I thought it was one of Lily's toys. Yeah, right, and I'm the Queen of England. Things came to a head at Mike's birthday dinner. We were all gathered around the table, Mike carving the roast, when Karen started up again. Ethan, be a dear and let Lily play with your robot. Just for tonight. Ethan shook his head, clutching the toy. No, it's mine. Karen's eyes flashed. Now that's not very nice. Mike, don't you think Ethan should share? Mike looked like he wanted to disappear into his mashed potatoes. That was it for me. Karen, drop it. It's Ethan's toy. End of story. She turned on me, all pretense of niceness gone. Well, I never. You're raising a selfish little brat, Sarah. The table went dead silent. Ethan's lower lip trembled. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly. We're leaving. As we headed for the door, Karen called out, sickly sweet again. Oh, Ethan, I baked you some cookies. Here, take them home. I should have said no. I should have trusted my gut. But Ethan looked so sad. I thought a cookie might cheer him up. Big mistake, huge. We got home, and Ethan scarfed down a cookie before bed. I was in the kitchen when I heard a thump from his room. Ethan? No answer. I ran in and found him on the floor, pale and sweating. Baby, what's wrong? He couldn't answer, just moaned and clutched his stomach. I've never driven so fast in my life. At the hospital, everything was a blur. Doctors, nurses, and terrifying words like poisoning and toxicology. Hours later, a doctor pulled me aside. Miss Sarah, your son ingested a significant amount of rat poison. Do you have any at home? My blood ran cold. No, but he ate a cookie right before. And then it hit me, Karen. The cookies that had poisoned my baby. Oh my God, I whispered, my legs giving out. The doctor caught me. Miss Sarah, we need to inform the police. This was no accident. I nodded, rage building inside me. But as the cops questioned me, I realized I had no proof. It was my word against Karen's. As I sat by Ethan's hospital bed, watching machines keep my baby alive, I made a vow. I was going to prove what that psycho had done, and I was going to make her pay, no matter what it took. Once Ethan was out of the woods, I went into full-on mama bear mode. No way was I letting Karen get away with this. I needed dirt, and I needed it fast. I called up my ride or die, Alex. She's a badass journalist with a knack for digging up secrets. Alex, I need your help. It's about Karen. Say no more, girl. I'm on it. Alex worked her magic, and holy hell, did she deliver. Turns out our sweet sister-in-law had quite the rap sheet, petty theft, fraud, even a restraining order from an ex-boyfriend. But nothing stuck. She always wiggled out of it somehow. Sarah, this chick's a straight-up narcissist with a god complex, Alex said, showing me the files. But we need solid proof for what she did to Ethan. That's when Alex had this genius idea. Let's set up cameras in your place, catch her red-handed at the next family thing. It felt sketchy, but hey, desperate times and all that. Next family dinner rolls around and I'm a bundle of nerves. Ethan's still wary of Karen, sticking close to me. Oh, Ethan, don't you want to play with Lily? Karen coos, sickeningly sweet. No, Ethan mumbles, hiding behind my leg. I see a flash of anger in Karen's eyes, but it's gone in a blink. Throughout dinner, I watch Karen like a hawk. She keeps trying to get close to Ethan's food or drinks, but I'm not having it. After dessert, I excuse myself to the kitchen. Through the hidden camera feed on my phone, I see Karen follow me. Sarah, dear, let me help with the coffee. I turn my back for 1 second, and there it is, Karen slipping something into Ethan's juice. My heart's pounding, but I keep cool. Thanks, Karen, I've got it. Back in the living room, Karen hands Ethan his juice. Here you go, sweetie, drink up. I snatch it away. Actually, Ethan's not thirsty, are you, baby? Karen's face twists for a second before smoothing out. Oh, but I insist, it's his favorite, isn't it? That's when I lose it. Cut the crap, Karen. I saw what you did. She laughs nervously. What are you talking about? I pull out my phone, playing the footage. This poisoning my son again. The room goes dead silent. Mike looks like he's going to be sick. Karen's face shifts from confused to angry in seconds. You set me up. Like you set up my son. I spit back. Admit it, you poisoned him before with those cookies. And then, like a dam bursting, it all comes out. So what if I did? That little brat deserved it, always showing off that stupid robot, making my Lily feel bad. I just wanted to teach him a lesson. Mike stands up, his face ashen. Karen, what have you done? Karen whirls on him. Oh, grow a spine, Mike. Your sister's been turning Ethan against us from day one. I can't believe what I'm hearing. You poisoned a child over a toy? Are you insane? I could hardly keep my voice steady. I'm the only sane one here. Karen shrieked, her voice cracking with madness. You're all just jealous of me, of Lily. We deserve that robot. We deserve everything. It was like watching a mask fall away, revealing the monster beneath. Mike grabbed Lily, backing away from Karen. It's over, Karen, I said, my voice shaking. The police are on their way. As if on cue, sirens wailed in the distance. Karen's eyes went wide, darting around like a cornered animal. You'll regret this, she hissed, then bolted for the door. We all stood there, shell-shocked, as Karen disappeared into the night. But I knew this wasn't over, not by a long shot. The next few days were a blur of police statements and family drama. Karen had vanished and Mike was a mess, torn between shock and guilt. As for me, I was riding a mix of relief and rage. "We'll find her, Miss Sarah," the detective assured me. "With this evidence, she won't get away with it." But days turned into weeks, and still no sign of Karen. The legal wheels were turning, but damn, they were slow. Then, out of nowhere, Mike called, his voice shaky. "Sarah, it's Karen. There's been an accident." My heart did a weird flip. Is she? No, but it's bad, really bad. I rushed to the hospital, not sure what I was feeling. There was Karen, the woman who tried to kill my son, lying broken in a hospital bed. "Karma's a bitch, huh?" The doctor pulled us aside. "The crash severed her spinal cord. She's paralyzed from the neck down." Mike broke down, but I felt nothing, just empty. Weeks passed. Ethan was bouncing back, the resilience of kids never ceasing to amaze me. Mike was stepping up, being the dad and uncle we needed. We were healing, slowly but surely. Karen, though, was facing a life of total dependency, no more manipulation, no more schemes, just her and her thoughts, day in and day out. One day, I decided to visit her. Don't ask me why. Closure, maybe. I walked into her room, seeing her hooked up to machines. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Come to gloat, Sarah." Her voice was weak, but the venom was still there. I sat down, looking her straight in the eye. "No, Karen, I came to say goodbye." She scoffed. "Spare me the pity party." "Oh, this isn't pity. This is me telling you that you lost. You tried to hurt my son, to break our family, and look where it got you. It was an accident. I didn't mean to." I cut her off. "Save it. You know what the difference between us is, Karen? I'd die for my child. You'd kill for yours. That's not love, that's obsession." Her face crumpled, but I wasn't done. "You're going to lie here, day after day, knowing that Ethan is growing up happy and loved, that Mike and Lily are moving on. And you're just a cautionary tale. You can't leave me like this," she cried out. I stood up, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "Watch me. Goodbye, Karen. I hope you find peace. God knows you need it." As I walked out, I heard her calling my name, begging me to come back, but I didn't turn around. That chapter of our lives was closed. Outside, I took a deep breath of fresh air. Ethan was waiting in the car with Mike, probably arguing over which superhero was the best. Alex had texted, asking if I wanted to grab a drink later. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours, and no one, not even Karen, could poison that. I slid into the driver's seat, smiling at my boy in the rearview mirror. "Ready to go home, kiddo?" Ethan grinned, clutching his robot. "Yeah, Mom, let's go home." As we drove off, leaving the hospital and Karen behind, I felt lighter than I had in months. We'd been through hell, but we'd come out stronger. And that toy robot, it sat proudly on our mantle, a reminder that sometimes the things worth fighting for aren't things at all. They're the people we love, the family we choose, and the strength we find when we need it most. The story of Sarah, Ethan, and Karen's twisted actions has come to an end. Now I've got a question for you. If you were in Sarah's shoes, visiting Karen in the hospital after everything that happened, what would you say to her? Would you forgive, seek revenge, or simply walk away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This situation's pretty intense, and I'm curious to hear how you'd handle it. If this story got you thinking, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more gripping tales of family drama and justice. Your support keeps these stories coming, and trust me, there's plenty more where this came from. Hi, I'm Maria. Before I continue, please like and subscribe to support the channel and stay updated with more stories like mine. Life as a nurse is never boring, and neither is being a mom of two. Every day, I switch roles from caring for patients to nurturing my kids, especially my teenager, Emily. At 16, she's at that age where boundaries are constantly tested, and every no feels like a challenge. Despite the occasional teen drama, I've always believed in fostering a home environment built on honesty and accountability. One crisp Thursday evening, after a long shift at the hospital, I returned home to the usual chaos. Dinner half prepared, homework papers scattered everywhere, and Emily glued to her phone, texting nonstop on the couch. It wasn't until I went to my bedroom to put away the day's tips that I noticed something was off. My wallet felt lighter. A couple of $100 were missing, the kind of money you don't just misplace. I walked back to the living room and casually asked, have you seen some money I left in my purse? It seems to be missing. Emily barely glanced up from her phone, her voice hesitant. I meant to ask you about that. I needed some cash for a school project. You took it without asking, Emily. My tone was more of disappointment than anger. She sighed a little too dramatically. Mom, it was urgent and you were at work. I was going to tell you. That's not how we handle urgent matters, Emily. We don't just take things, I replied, trying to stay calm. You're grounded for the weekend. No going out with your friends. But that's so unfair, Emily protested, jumping to her feet. It's just money, and I was going to tell you. It's not about the money, it's about trust and respect. The argument escalated as her protests grew louder, but I stood firm. Grounding her felt like a mild punishment for breaking trust. Later, as I prepared dinner, trying to shake off the weight of our confrontation, Rick stormed in. His face was dark with anger, a look I knew all too well. You're grounding her for taking a little cash? Seriously, Maria? Rick's voice was steeped in disbelief as he threw his keys on the table. It's not about the amount, Rick. It's about honesty and consequences, I countered, feeling the tension rise between us. That's just your way of controlling her, like you try to control everything in this house. I sighed, trying to keep my cool. This isn't about control. It's about teaching our daughter the right values. Rick scoffed, pacing back and forth. Oh, and you're the perfect role model by what? Grounding her over every little mistake. Every little mistake. Emily admitted she took the money without asking. That's not a little mistake, that's stealing. He stopped pacing and glared at me. And you think you're perfect? Never done anything wrong. I shook my head, frustrated. This isn't about me. Why do you always make it about anything but the issue at hand? Because you make everything about rules and punishments. Maybe if you weren't so harsh, she wouldn't feel the need to hide things from us. Or maybe she would understand boundaries and respect if her father supported her mother in disciplining her when it's necessary. Rick's face turned red, his breathing grew heavier. You're turning my kids against me, Maria. You're painting me as the bad guy because I don't jump on your strict parenting bandwagon. Nobody is turning anyone against you. You're doing that all by yourself by undermining me in front of them. That's because you're unreasonable, he shouted, his voice echoing off the walls. You want to control everything and everyone. That's not true, and deep down you know it. I'm trying to be a responsible parent, Rick. By what? Alienating your daughter? You think she's going to trust you? After this, I felt a pang in my heart. I'm her mother. It's my job to teach her right from wrong, and it's my job to protect her from your extreme measures. Extreme? Teaching our daughter that actions have consequences is extreme now. Rick's voice rose, and he looked like he was about to explode. You're impossible. And you're not helping by arguing with every decision I make, I shot back. Suddenly, his hand flew out, striking me across the face. The force knocked me back, and pain radiated from my cheek. For a moment, there was stunned silence as we both realized what had just happened. I touched my cheek, the sting sharp and immediate. You hit me. Rick's eyes widened, perhaps surprised by his own actions. Maria, I didn't. You did. I interrupted, my voice trembling with a mix of fear and anger. You just hit me. Our younger son, Jacob, peeked from behind the hallway corner, his eyes wide. Mom, are you okay? I quickly wiped my face, trying to shield him from any more of this ugliness. Yes, honey, I'm fine. Go back to your room, please. Jacob hesitated, his gaze shifting between Rick and me. Jacob, please, I urged, my voice softer. Reluctantly, he turned and disappeared back into his room. Turning back to Rick, I found my voice firmer, more determined. This can't go on. You need help, Rick. You can't just. He cut me off, his own voice breaking. Maria, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me, but... Sorry isn't enough this time, I said quietly, the resolve building inside me. This changes everything. As Rick stood there, looking lost and confused, I knew that this moment was a turning point. I needed to protect myself and my children, no matter what that meant for the future of our family. Sitting in the break room at the hospital, I poured my heart out to Linda, my colleague and closest confidant. The walls adorned with health posters felt like they were closing in on me as I recounted last night's horror. Rick hit me, Linda, right in front of Jacob, I whispered, the words heavy with shame and disbelief. Linda's expression hardened. This has gone too far, Maria. You can't let him get away with this. I know, but I feel so lost. It's like I don't even know who he is anymore. I admitted, the confusion and hurt swirling inside me. It's not just last night, is it? There have been other signs, hadn't there? Linda's voice was gentle, coaxing the buried truths out of me. I nodded, memories flooding back. There were times when he'd lose his temper over nothing. He'd decide things without asking me, convincing me it was for the best. And you believed him because you wanted to keep the peace, Linda concluded. Exactly. I thought they were isolated incidents, but now, seeing them all together. I trailed off, the pattern too clear to ignore. Linda leaned forward, her resolve palpable. You need to document everything, Maria. Every incident, no matter how small it seemed at the time. Taking her advice to heart, I started gathering every piece of evidence I could find. I spoke to Emily and Jacob, who reluctantly shared their own observations of their father's erratic behavior. Emily confessed, he always said it was our little secret, not to upset you with the small stuff. And by small stuff, he meant his bursts of anger. I pressed gently. Emily nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. I didn't want to make things worse, Mom. Realizing the extent of Rick's manipulation, I felt a surge of protectiveness. This ends now. We're safer knowing the truth. I dug deeper, finding emails where Rick had belittled my concerns about family finances or decisions about the kids' education. Each email, each testimonial from my children, added to the growing dossier of Rick's controlling nature. Back at work, I showed Linda my findings. She pored over the documents with a furrowed brow. This is more than enough for a strong case against him, Maria. Whether it's for custody, a restraining order, or whatever you decide you need. I just want to keep my children safe, I said, my voice firm with newfound determination. And you will, Linda assured me. You're doing the right thing. Gathering all this shows you're not just reacting to one bad night, you're responding to a pattern of behavior that's harmful to you and your kids. Empowered by Linda's support and the evidence laid out before me, I knew I was on the right path. I knew what I had to do next. The road ahead would be tough, but for the first time in a long while, I felt like I wasn't walking it alone. The truth about Rick, once obscured by the facade of a temper barely kept in check, was now starkly clear. With that clarity came the path forward to protect my family and end the cycle of manipulation and fear. Armed with the truth and a folder thick with evidence, I confronted Rick in our living room, a space that had seen both the joys and shadows of our family life. Rick, we need to talk about what's been happening. I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. This can't continue, not just for my sake, but for our children's. He looked at me, wary but defiant. What are you talking about, Maria? The manipulation, the anger, the assault, I said, laying the papers on the coffee table. It all ends today. He scoffed, glancing at the documents. You think you can just end things, just like that? Yes, Rick, just like that. I was firm, my resolve unshakable. I'm filing for divorce, and I've spoken to a lawyer. Everything, your actions, your words, they are all documented. Rick's face paled. You're serious. Very serious, I replied. I've tolerated enough for the sake of what I thought was a partnership, but that's not what this is. As the reality settled in for him, I continued, I've also shared everything with the people who needed to know, your colleagues, our neighbors, not to slander you, but to protect myself and our kids. You wouldn't dare, he said, his voice a mix of disbelief and anger. I already have, and the community has been more supportive than you think. I added, the strength of the collective backing me felt empowering. In the following days, Rick faced the consequences. His workplace conducted its own inquiry, and the disdain from our community was palpable. Friends we had known for years looked to him differently. Whispers followed him around, and his professional reputation took a hit from which it wouldn't easily recover. During this time, I worked on securing a stable and peaceful environment for Emily and Jacob. The local community center provided resources, and neighbors who once only greeted us in passing came forward with meals, words of support, and offers to help with the kids. One evening, sitting in the quiet of a home that no longer housed fear, I reflected on the journey. The peace was new, delicate, but promising. I watched Emily and Jacob playing in the yard, their laughter a balm to the many wounds we'd endured. I realized then, looking at their carefree smiles, that this was what liberation felt like. It wasn't just the absence of Rick and his oppressive shadow, but the presence of community, of hope, and the reclaiming of my own strength. In that moment, I knew we were going to be okay. Better than okay. We were going to thrive. The struggle had been harrowing, the decisions painful but necessary. As I watched my children play, I felt a profound sense of triumph. This wasn't just a victory for me, but for Emily and Jacob too. We had escaped a cycle of toxicity, and while the road ahead would have its own challenges, we would face them as a family of three, supported by a community that had shown us we were not alone. Rick's downfall was of his own making, his actions the architect of his demise. As he faced the cold reality of his choices, I embraced the warmth of a new beginning, surrounded by love and support. For the first time in a long time, I looked toward the future with hope, not fear, confident in the knowledge that we had not just survived, but were finally free to live. That brings us to the end of Maria's journey as she rebuilds her life with her children and finds support in her community. It raises an important question about handling toxic relationships, especially when they're within the family. What would you do if you were in Maria's position? Would you take the same steps or handle it differently? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. It's crucial to talk about these situations openly to help others who might be facing similar challenges. Your input can make a big difference. And if you found this story compelling, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more discussions like this. Your support helps us keep these important conversations going. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to your comments.